Hi there, Makayla. Thanks for opting into the video critique. I think your ad is off to a good start. I like the colors. I like the blending of the images. I think we probably can work on the sizing of your type. You want to make sure you're hitting all those minimum requirements. So I feel like you have your logo and your 1 to 2 sentences of body copy. I don't think you have a call to action on here, so make sure you look over those minimum requirements. Make sure you're getting all of those so you can get 15 of the 15 points for your minimum requirements. Okay, I'm wondering about the orientation. I think you've just made both of your ads landscape, which is fine. I don't have a problem with this ad being landscape. It just feels a little bit too tall. Maybe check your dimensions. I'm trying to turn my head sideways to see if it looks like it's the correct dimensions sideways. And it might actually be. Just double check the dimensions for me. It's fine that it's landscape instead of portrait. But just check that. Okay, so add in that call to action as well. Make sure freshener is spelled right. It might be, but there also might be a E-N-E-R. Okay. I like that this is not capitalized and just kind of floating underneath this. This font above here, I'm not gonna lie, is not my favorite. It reminds me of Impact, which is a font that's used a lot because it's a default creative one. And so maybe play around a little bit. They're both sans serifs, which is fine, but perhaps you do have this script font here, which mimics this, and I like that. I really like the transition of this. It could look good to have live inside the aroma in this one, or it might be too obvious of a choice. I just am not loving how squished these letters are looking and close together. That's a typeface choice. It's not a wrong choice, but because it resembles Impact so much for me personally, it makes the ad feel a little bit more amateur. And that's something sometimes you decide to go against anyway and to use a font that looks like one of those default ones. But I think if you can make another choice, it might be more refreshing. Okay. I think this looks good, actually. I was wondering when I first looked it up, live inside the aroma. So this is a door, which is the petal, or the petals. It's the center of the flower, so live inside the aroma. Enjoy the scent of nature with Glade air freshener. The fact that it's a door isn't reinforced with your written content. So you're saying live inside the aroma. I'm trying to, from a messaging perspective, we might want to tighten that up a little bit more, okay? So maybe open the door to the aroma, or something along those lines. Do you see how it's a little bit more overt? Live inside the aroma. It still makes sense, but it's just not super obvious when someone's just glancing at your magazine really quickly. All right? So maybe play around with that a little bit. I'm trying to brainstorm here. Live inside the aroma and its door. Open the door, or step into the aroma. Bring the aroma inside, something like that. I don't know, just think about that a little bit. But the messaging, we want it to really visually reinforce this, especially since your ad is pretty subtle. It has a nice blending of the images. But if you did just super quickly glance at this, unless you're, paying a particular attention, you might not even realize that this is something different. So you really want the words to reinforce that there's something in this image that is why these words are here, okay? I feel like the words are too small. I feel like live inside the aroma is too small and too tucked over in the upper left-hand corner. It's not really yelling anything. It's mostly the image of the flower I'm seeing. So we want to make sure that there are a few things that really pop out. The image and then your slogan usually need to really pop out. I love the amount of white space still, so we don't want to infringe, especially on this amount of white space, considering you're going to have to add in a call to action, which I would probably put down here probably. But I feel like this is a little bit too receding. It's a little bit tucked up into the corner too much. So live inside the aroma. Let's picture that maybe 2 times larger, which probably means it's going to take up 2 lines, which I don't love the idea of, but you could possibly make it so it lives in a space here, okay? So you could move it away from the edge a bit, live inside the aroma. You could play around with different sizes. Live could be large, inside the aroma could be bigger, or whatever. Step into, open the door, whatever you decide to do, and then underneath it, enjoy the sense of nature with Glade air fresheners on 2 lines. So I really like the idea of only having 2 lines, but I think it's making this too small. It feels like it's receding, and so that's kind of a not necessarily the feeling you want your ad to have, that some things are just tucked and shoved really far in the corner. Okay, so this one, pretty much the same proportions. I'm assuming this is the Facebook ad. I don't really like the change in the shape here. I would probably try to keep this a circle, even if it means you have some overlap. Maybe your flower is going off the top of the page, or it's really fully filling this space. I wouldn't change the proportions of your flower. I would keep it the same, okay? And then just let whatever part of the background needs to go off the page, go off the page. Maybe it's a little bit less light on the top or a little bit less dark, more in this medium space before you have to crop it. But I think that's okay. All right, and then go play, buddy. Sorry. We're still on spring break. I have a 4-year-old coming in. Okay, so I feel like these are almost too similar. You know, this one doesn't feel like there's anything different about it, because this one is really going to be so much smaller. Oh, let's look at them in the actual sizes. Wow, why is your Facebook ad so big? Why is your Facebook ad so large? 30%. It's coming across really big, which is interesting. Usually these come in very tiny. Okay, so this Facebook ad, really when it's on Facebook, is going to be about this size. So I think you're going to lose some of this writing. So I want you to, with that in mind, reformat the size of these things. Okay, so this is probably going to be a little bit bigger. This line's definitely going to be bigger. Okay, so just bear that in mind. I think you're heading in the right direction. Really, it's just the type. The type is falling very flat for me. And the size is good. I really like this second font, and I like your script. So you have some things, it's just, you have some things that are working well for it. I think it comes down to sizing, a little bit of placement is going to make a really big difference, and kind of that's a subtle change, but it's going to help it feel a lot more professional. Okay, and then make sure you get that call to action in there, and maybe just reconsider the messaging. You're heading in the right direction, but the actual words you use could take it to that next level. Okay, but really good actually overall. Good start. Really good images. I like this size and that you can see the texture. I can tell these are high quality images. They look really nice. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing your final project here. Thanks, Makayla.